Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't answer this question.
I'm not going to defend that religion, like that extremist religion at all.
Why can't you just
that's
say?
not what this discussion is about. This discussion is about
it's very much what it's about.
So apparently, this is what happens when a simple question collides with a protective narrative. Bill Maher's basic common sense question caused Ana to act like this.
But if you had to live in the Middle East, so tomorrow, Ana, you got to go live in the Middle East, where would you live? You can pick one city, any city. You can, as far away as, say, Pakistan. You could live in Karachi. You could live in Cairo. You could live in Amman, Jordan. You seem to love Lebanon. I mean, Beirut's nice when the bombing's not happening and the assassinations have stopped. Or you could live in Syria. I hear that's wonderful in the summer.
Well, we now have Al-Qaeda terrorists leading Syria.
Or the Houthis, I'm sure, would make room for you.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv. Or the West Bank, Ramallah, I think is wonderful for like a little, in the fall, it gets lovely. Where would you live? What city would you live in?
Well,
where do you think you'd be comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by
You're not
the United States.
You're not really blaming it on Whitey.
Listen.
Are you? You're blaming Islam on Whitey?
I'm not blaming Islam on Whitey.
But what you're saying is we destabilized. That's why you can't wear that dress?
Did we not destabilize?
Wait a second.
We were funding terrorist organizations in Syria during the Syrian Civil War, starting under the Obama administration.
That's why
Did that not destabilize Syria?
Okay, so instead of just answering Bill's question about women's freedom and cultural realities, Ana immediately deflected, shifting the topic to foreign policies. But Bill catches on and immediately pushes back when he realizes she was avoiding the question.
No, what's destabilized?
There's a literal Al-Qaeda terrorist.
We're talking about your dress.
Oh, why? It looks good. I know it looks good.
You're saying you can't wear that dress in Syria because of Whitey destabilizing?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's what it said.
Okay,
okay, great.
But the United States did destabilize various Middle Eastern countries. Are you going to deny that?
I asked about the dress, and you went right to destabilize. So is that why you couldn't wear that dress? Why couldn't you wear that dress? Why couldn't you walk down?
You want me to talk about jihadism and Islam, but like...
Why won't you?
Listen...
Why won't you?
I mean,
Why?
I don't believe in jihadism, which is why I'm furious that the United States just had a freaking Al-Qaeda terrorist in the White House.
It's not just jihadism that is preventing you from wearing that dress. Are you saying every Muslim is a jihad? I don't think they are.
Bill.
Okay, why can't you wear that dress?
Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't answer this question.
I'm not going to defend that religion, like that extremist religion at all.
Why can't you just say?
That's not what this discussion is about. This discussion is about
it's very much what it's about.
Ordinary, innocent human beings that I don't want to be slaughtered, regardless of what their religion is.
No one does. Then stop starting wars.
It's that simple.
Stop attacking Israel. It'll stop.
Okay.
But the fact that you can't answer that question, and you know that
I don't know what the question is. What's the question?
You keep doing that.
What's my question? What's your question?
Because you don't really want to hear it.
It's absolutely ridiculous how many different directions she tried to take this conversation in. From destabilization to foreign policies, all the way to terrorism. She was willing to talk about anything except the question at hand. She is so tangled in her own talking points that the lady can't even remember what the original question was.
No, go ahead. I will give you space to speak. Go ahead.
Then you will let me. Yeah. Okay. The question is, if you could live anywhere, from North Africa all the way to, we left out Uzbekistan, you could live there, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh.
None of the above.
And,
none of them.
Or Tel Aviv.
None of them. Literally none of them.
But if you had to choose one, you would. So to you, Karachi, Pakistan, and Tel Aviv, same thing.
I would figure something out, but
that's powerful. Not as smart as I know you are. That's. Come on. You're going to get killed. You're going to get killed for that for good reason.
No, I don't.
Yes, you are, and for good reason.
Okay, Bill, I'm Armenian. I have literal family members who currently live in Iran. I have no love for the Iranian regime. Let me be clear about that.
I left out Tehran. Would you like to live there?
Hold on. But let me just say something.
Tel Aviv, Tehran.
There is so much disinformation. Armenian Christians who are part of the Armenian diaspora as a result of the 1915 genocide against Armenians.
I know it.
They're living in Iran right now. They're going to church. They're being left alone by the Ayatollah, as awful as the Ayatollah is. So look, I'm not saying I would want to live in Iran. I don't want to live anywhere in the Middle East. I want to live here in the United States of America, the greatest freaking country in the world.
You're like a politician. You're avoiding the question.
No, I'm being as super honest as I can be.
No, you're not.
Bill Maher is absolutely right. She sounds exactly like a politician, saying a lot of words without actually answering anything. Instead of just answering the question directly, she keeps circling around with long explanations that don't actually address the damn point. She's not being as honest as she can be, but protecting the narrative as long as she possibly can.
No, you're not.
100% I'm being honest with you.
No. Because the question is, if you had to pick a city, and you're not answering that question, you're doing what politicians are doing and saying, I don't want to live in any of them. I want to live in America. That's not the question. The question is, if you had to pick, would you rather live in Tel Aviv? Because I promise you, you wouldn't last a week in the other places, and you could easily live in Tel Aviv. So if you don't think that speaks of a difference between cultures and civilizations, then okay, we'll leave it there. But I promise you it does. And if you had to actually do that, I think you would agree with me.
I think given my very harsh and vociferous criticisms of the Israeli government, I probably wouldn't feel so safe living in Tel Aviv right now under this government. Under this government.
First of all, they have free speech there, so it would not be an issue. But that is a side issue. We're not really talking about. We'll just say just a person, not you with your vociferous talking at, just a regular, a woman of your age.
I'm sure a woman of my age who grew up in the Western world would probably feel the most comfortable in Tel Aviv. I will concede that.
Wow.
Okay. But we're having a discussion about which culture we like, when in reality, I'm having a discussion about the value of human life and wanting innocent people to live, whether they're Israelis or whether they're Muslims in some other Muslim country in the Middle East.
You know what? When I'm bored, I know the audience is bored.
Yeah,
so I'm going to cut it there because we've been around that mulberry bush before.
Right.
She knew the answer as soon as the question was asked. If you're talking about a place in the Middle East where a woman could comfortably live and dress the way she desires to dress, the obvious answer is Tel Aviv. It's one of the most liberal secular cities in the region where Western lifestyles is completely normal. But for some reason, she just didn't want to admit that part because admitting that would have immediately undermined the narrative she was trying to maintain. So instead, we got the detours, the deflection, and the long explanations, even though the truth was obvious from the start. It's amazing how far some people will go to protect a damn narrative. They double down, deflect, and twist the conversation into something else entirely, no matter how illogical it starts to sound. Even when the facts are right in front of them, they would still refuse to budge. Instead, they become completely one-track minded because the goal isn't to find the truth or answer the question honestly. The goal is to defend the narrative at all costs. And the more they spin and dodge the question, the more obvious it becomes that the narrative matters much more to them than simply admitting the obvious. The reality is, she knew the answer the second the question was asked. And everyone watching this could see it. But admitting it right away would have undercut the narrative she's been pushing for years. So instead we get the spinning, the deflection, the long explanation that go everywhere except the actual point. And after all that talking, she eventually concedes and gives the obvious answer anyway. Look, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, places like Tel Aviv offer freedoms that simply doesn't exist in many other parts of the region. But admitting that right away would have complicated the larger story she was trying to sell. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.